Housekeeping matters. The way we work it in here is that when we ask you to begin speaking, you'll see a timer in front of you, and the basic time allotment is 5 minutes. You'll see a green light for 4 minutes, and then the yellow light for the last minute. However, our practice, since we've been doing this year, is to try and give you as much leniency as possible. Please don't feel the need to rush through your presentation. We're very interested. Many of you have come long distances, so we'll give you as much time as you need. If for some reason you do start to get a little long-winded, which is not unusual in this room, mostly from us more than it is from you, you'll hear me lightly tap the gavel, and that's just an invitation to please start to wrap things up. And then what we'll do is we'll have everybody's testimony at one time, and then we'll turn to the members for questions. So with that, I'll introduce some of the members of the first panel. We'll start with Mr. Dirk Hare. He is the managing partner with Fox Rothschild, and he practices in the areas of construction law and government contracts. Mr. Hare is testifying on behalf of the Associated General Contractors of America, for whom he is the serves on the Federal Acquisition Regulation Committee. Sitting next to him is Mrs. Rosana Privatera Biondo. She is the founding employee, now the president, of Mark I Electric Company. She is testifying on behalf of the president of Women Construction Owners and Executives. Welcome, Ms. Biondo. Following her is Mr. McCallum. Mark McCallum is the Chief Executive Officer of the National Association of Surety Bond Producers, an international association of companies employing professional surety bond producers and brokers. And I will yield now to Ms. Chu for the introduction of our final panel member.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for allowing me to introduce Miguel Galarza, who is president of Yerba Buena Engineering and Construction, which is a multi-million-dollar civil and environmental engineering firm. He successfully managed contracts for the U.S. Navy, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the U.S. Air Force, National Park Services, as well as for the California's Department of Transportation, Caltrans. Mr. Galarza has been honored by the Small Business Administration, the California Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Ernst & Young Inc. magazine, and the Minority Business Development Agency. He received a BS in Construction Management and attended UCLA's Anderson School of Business and Dartmouth's Tuck School of Business. Mr. Galarza, I thank you for being here, and I welcome you to the hearing.
We should have him sit up here. Goodness gracious. Mr. Hare, fire away. We'll just go right down the aisle.
Thank you. Good morning. Although I'm in a private law firm, private practice representing contractors involved in federal small business issues, my testimony here today involves or is on behalf of the Associated General Contractors of America and their 33,000 member companies, many of which are small or closely held businesses. As you mentioned, Mr. Chairman, I'm on a number of leadership roles in the AGC and an active member. The federal government has many different programs and services to support small business contracting. AGC applauds this subcommittee for holding today's hearing to examine ways to improve the delivery of federal construction services involving small businesses. AGC's members recognize the potential benefits that federal small business programs provide to contractors who qualify for these programs. However, the programs as currently regulated sometimes do not achieve the important goal of developing successful small businesses that can compete and succeed on their own. SBA's affiliation rule provides a good example of the challenge. In recent years, many federal agencies have increased their goals for small business participation in construction to the point where small businesses are regularly given the opportunity to compete for projects that stretch their resources and capabilities. While this can be very positive for growing a small business, these small businesses often need to subcontract some of the work to a larger business who may have more expertise or resources. One would think that SBA publishes a clear set of rules for affiliation so that contractors would know what they can and can't do with respect to business relationships between small prime contractors and their large business subcontractors. That is not the case. SBA polices the affiliation rule on a case-by-case basis, with no set of safe harbors that contractors can rely on to know if they are in compliance or not in compliance. This ad hoc approach has thrown the construction industry into disarray when it comes to small business contracting issues. I have clients who routinely receive inconsistent advice on small business issues by different agencies, and even by different geographic offices within the same agencies. AGC believes that one way to solve this problem is to adopt a consistent set of safe harbor activities with respect to affiliation so that all contractors, large and small, know what they can and can't do with respect to small business contracting issues. The construction industry has historically supported and provided opportunities for small businesses and is proud of its efforts to include small businesses and allow small businesses to develop. Consequently, agencies often over-rely on the construction industry to shoulder the burden for other industries that have not encouraged small business involvement. Agencies try to meet their entire goal by limiting competition almost only to small businesses in construction. In effect, the construction industry has been penalized for their success encouraging the utilization of small businesses. This same concern holds true for small business subcontracting. I routinely see solicitations for $100 million and even billion-dollar construction projects with small business subcontracting goals of 70% or more. Rather than force unrealistic subcontracting goals on very large projects where an extremely high level of small business subcontracting is simply not feasible, the government should adopt its agency-wide goals and subcontracting goals to be more consistent with what the market typically provides. We thank the committee for recognizing the need to begin to address the issue of allowing prime contractors to fully report and receive credit for small business subcontracting activities at all tiers. This will increase transparency and demonstrate whether an agency has actually met its utilization goals. Another major challenge for contractors over the past several years is how federal agencies have addressed the consolidation of multiple construction contracts into a single contract, the bundling issue. One of the major reasons bundling on construction contracts has proliferated is that there is currently no provision in federal law that requires construction contracts to be reviewed for a bundling determination. Incidentally, from our members' perspective, the utilization of multiple award task order contracts, MATOCs, or multiple award construction contracts, also known as MACs, as they've been called, fit within the parameters of, from our view, fit within the parameters of contract bundling. AGC thanks this committee for its consideration of revising the bundling definition to clarify that contract bundling rules apply to construction procurements and that these procurements must be reviewed for any negative impacts on small companies. Another trend that we have seen at the state and local level is the proliferation of local geographic preferences. AGC believes that these preferences can, in fact, be very detrimental because they encourage retaliatory measures from other local surrounding jurisdictions and can have the effect of hurting small and local construction companies that typically are limited by geography. Thank you for the opportunity to provide our views on working with the federal market. AGC strongly recommends Congress reform the federal procurement process to, 1, create safe harbor standards that do not penalize contractors for making good faith efforts to abide by the SBA rules and regulations, and specifically the affiliation rule. 2, limit over-reliance on construction to achieve overall agency small business subcontracting goals. 3, ensure that small business goals take into consideration small business capacity in the relevant markets. 4, count all small business participation at all contracting tiers. And 5, revise the bundling definition to clarify that contract bundling rules apply to construction procurements. Thank you. I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Mr. Herron. And we